What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode of the Mist Podcast. I am your host, Aeromist. I wanted to bring a topic today. It's going to talk about how blockchain technology is going to transform our lives. I think when we look at all the systems that we have now, we can all collectively agree that they're old. And by old, infrastructurally, almost all of them could be completely advanced, way beyond the way that we're doing them right now if we're looking at efficiency. And this is kind of the same talk as like how technology is going to eventually evolve regardless. And the way I put this now is like, if I want to go do something on the blockchain, for instance, I want to go sell NFTs and I want to make sure that I own my contract, then I'm going to have to learn how to code. There's just like literally no way around that. No matter what I do, I'm going to have to literally learn how to code. Now, the same thing could be said for building a regular website about 10 to 15 years ago. No matter what, you had to know how to code. There was no code solutions. You had to understand HTML, CSS, and then as JavaScript progressed, you had very understand JavaScript to be able to start doing really cool things and having dope websites and providing a great product for the people that want a good website. And then that also goes into all the other layers of other things that have needed that depth of coding to be able to have them be established. And so that's like video games, augmented reality, whatever else the hell it might be. There's always been something there that has needed an advancement. And once it's had its advancement, then we start looking at it like we are today. And we're like, well, what do we do now? What do we do next? Where does this even go? So when a lot of people start looking at NFTs, they don't exactly connotate that NFTs are the future because they only understand the monkey pictures, but not understanding why the picture exists in the first place. And that is the entire foundation of how blockchain technology revolutionizes everything, is that think about if we live in a world where it's hard to trust things because of augmented reality mixed with AI, you think about how difficult it's going to be to look around and get where the truth is and know where the truth is coming from. Because right now, even bigger accounts by regular people that you think ran their accounts for a long time, they could just start having an AI take over on it. And then you start living at this point where like, what's the truth? What's real? And also then what is efficient to make sure that we know what's real? And that is where blockchain technology comes into play. Because outside of JPEGs and all that other kind of stuff, when we talk about what system that helps us establish and how this system all in itself completely accelerates everything to do with our existence, is another level of like even the law, real estate, doing transactional business related things, all through the blockchain comboed with AI just makes for, you can shatter an entire infrastructure just with that, because that infrastructure that these businesses have, it makes them billions of dollars. But when they finally make that integrational change over to blockchain technology and then they establish all their assets via the blockchain, all of those businesses are going to quadruple in their business evaluation anyway, because now everything they have is a provable asset on top of it being a tradable asset. And so it's kind of how CSGO is, but I don't think CSGO necessarily like really exemplifies the idea. My better idea is like if Fortnite skins tomorrow became property of whoever owns them, but in a way that it is still attached to like the business model, right? Because when I've sold the product, if I don't still own the product, I can't claim on that said product that it has a business evaluation to it in itself. Like I can't claim, Fortnite can't claim that their skins are valuable themselves as an asset via this much money, which means that they don't get the opportunity to then expand on how much value they have as a business unless those skins start to be traded differently, but then also accounted for as property, right? Because then you're trading property in an ecosystem, and that also creates a different type of how you expand the business evaluation of a company. And I'm just looking at this in the standpoint, also somewhat thinking of it on the spot. which is why I'm putting it together as I am, because I'm doing it literally off the top of my head, is we establish a point where everything has to be more and more efficient. Businesses have to be making more and more money. Their businesses' valuations will continue to go up. None of these businesses at the top, maybe some of them might fail. You never really know. But as it seems to go, every single business continues to look to how to expand its profits. And eventually, it's going to be more profitable for them to have those types of systems put into play and replace as many human beings as they even can. Because that's a part of what it is that replaces their payroll. It replaces the need for hiring people to do things that help. They don't need legal people because they can set up their own legal infrastructure through blockchain technology, meaning that if something's going to happen, it's going to be seamless through a smart contract. It doesn't really have to go any other way. No one has to ask questions. Everyone can see the contract. There's no questioning on the validation. All these other problems that society technically has, the blockchain solves that. Just inherently, the blockchain overall solves many problems that we will continue to have until the blockchain solves those problems. And then we might have other types of problems, but it's just like, once again, the tech revolution has to make its rounds, and slowly but surely we're making ourselves that way. Looking at what you can do in the blockchain world right now, it only goes to show you where we're going to be in another 6 to 12 months, because 12 months ago, the price for getting some of this stuff done because you couldn't go do it on your own was probably way more than what you can and are able to accomplish right now. Meaning I could go make a website or a mint site, no matter what you do. And maybe you won't own your stuff if you do it through a specific party. That's the problem. But eventually, someone's going to come out with a way that you do it seamless, no code, and then now the competition in the market changes. The competition in the market last year was like all these coded tools for helping people do trading-based stuff. But those are only relevant to traders. So then what did OpenSea do? Right? They basically completely shattered most of them by just integrating into their own API and into their system what most of these people were then establishing as a third party, because OpenSea realizes that if they don't do that, they're going to eventually have marketplaces that compete with them that either integrate those or collaborate with the tools to then make a marketplace that outcompetes them, and they can get outcompeted. Right now, anything in the blockchain space can get outcompeted over completely. It just is going to it takes all these other layers to make sure that happens, and some of it might even take time in a transfer, but like we've seen, for instance, another marketplace be able to take over the volume, the daily volume in ETH over OpenSea, which would be like Blur. I don't know if that's still a consistent thing every day, but it had happened before. And because it has happened, which means that this market is so open that anybody that comes in and does it right or does it correctly, and by that morally stands by a way of making it more efficient for other people to interact and be involved, then they're going to, as in any free market, they're going to take more market share. But then that makes the whole market have to move in a different way, and that's how NFTs have been moving for a while. And that's how the blockchain development tech market has been moving for quite a while too, is there's a lot of people that are building things on the back end for the whole future, and as they continue to see the space envelop, it helps them also build some things that they're doing. But even when they present the build of what they have done, everyone's just going to try to take on top of that and build and exponentiate, and it's going to get to a point where whatever has come out of that is no longer even recognizable from what it was within 6 months. And that space keeps moving so quickly, we don't even know where that's going to go. Then you put in AI and you take it to that account. It's just like, think about the seamlessness. Everything eventually has to move in this area where everything is more and more seamless, more efficient, more automated, because that takes out the middleman of the human, and more opportunistic for everybody to be involved and for businesses to maximize profit, unfortunately. So this one is a little bit short compared to the other ones. I think it's just a very blanketed and simple, straightforward thing of how blockchain technology is going to fully revolutionize everything that we have. And it's going to do this by the seamlessness and the expansion of technology all in itself. And that's pretty much it, right? Software tech is a part of us getting where we're going to go, the same way hardware tech is as well. And AI is now a part of the software tech. People will use that same software tech integrated with the blockchain aspect of stuff to create another seamless point of automated efficiency. So regardless, this is going to happen. It's inevitable. And you could say that this is a concrete prediction, but it's something we already see every single day right now. And I've literally witnessed in the past 2.5 years in the blockchain, crypto, and tech and software tech space. So blockchain technology is going to revolutionize everything in our existence, not just from NFTs, but just from what a smart contract is and what efficiency it starts to bring and the profitability that brings. And that's the only reason why it takes that route anyway, is because right now it offers sovereignty. But once a lot of those systems are not only overused in a corporate sense, but they are also well understood and beyond understood, it becomes, a different level of trying to find your sovereignty then. So we're going to see how that goes. But the world is going to continue to flourish and fluctuate down a path of an interesting and curated rate. And because of how curated and designed everything already is, something that helps curate the aspect of that design, as well as, once again, maximize profits. That's the whole point. This whole world's about these businesses making profit, and that's why all these other things happen. That's why advancements happen, because there's funding behind those advancements. If there's no funding, nothing ever gets done. That's why some areas of some things don't happen, and blockchain space technology is going because there's a lot of money involved, and people are getting funding, and because of that, that also means that eventually it's going to circulate to where some people sell their software to big corporations. Those corporations will then use that, maximize their profit, and it's just this kind of subing loop of like the reason why it exists is because there's a monetary option in all of it for people to be able to make a lot of money, and that's the new gold mine rush that everyone's after, and that's why certain people are gravitating to it, whether you're a consumer, a trader of NFTs, and on all that other stuff, whether you only do crypto and meme coins, or you're finding your way in a space that is not necessarily gravitating every single person into it. There's a reason why it's not, and it's because there's so much informational layer you have to understand to be involved. It's kind of the same way of being involved in the internet in the early 2000s. It's like accessing certain websites and getting involved in all these communities and doing certain things was nowhere near as integrative and easy as it is today. It's just pulling up Facebook, going and joining a Facebook group, or pulling up Reddit and going finding a Reddit that you could go find people to talk to or ask a question or whatever. Like, it's not the same as it was 23 years ago. And so at this point, the same thing can be said for blockchain technology, but in an even shorter amount of time. And that's what is pretty much the whole point of talking about the scale as well, is that we will see this happen in less than 5 years. And with essentially the U.S. government talking about implying a CBDC, at some point they're going to do that. And no matter what, at one point they're going to do that, because that's what helps the U.S. dollar not completely shit on itself. But then that's also probably when we turn into a completely credit system based, tracking everything everyone does based country. Who knows what happens then? But that's just going to happen because that's a part of the efficiency of how they maximize profit. Data is a very, very, very important selling point for every single company right now, and data is the most valuable thing every single company can have. And that's how their business models are being made. So this also helps them extrapolate on having the information to expand their business model. So it's almost inevitable, and unfortunately, I do hope that we find a way to either not necessarily fully combat it, because I think it's inevitable, but being able to transfer this into a place that inherently goes into something that's more better than worse than it is for us. But I guess that's a little subjectional, because if you could say that right now today is a little bit better than it was 100 years ago, but then I would look at you and say, in what degree, in what term? People still get away with shit. People still are going through extremely tough times like they were then. There's more parts of the world that are a little bit safer, but like, give me your definition of safe then, because there's a bad part to every single town. There's more and more people that are struggling, and there's more of the negative getting prosed out into the community-based point than there is a positive in some parts of this world. And so it's hard to sit here and dignify to say that it's any worse or better than it used to be, because that is just taken off of different. That's an idea of what parameters are you going by then of what is and what is not safe. Technically, 100 years ago, they were less inclined around natural disaster than we are right now, only because of how the planet's cycles run with giving us a change in the outside environment in general. So we could get up to a point now where we have more catastrophe than we did 100 years ago. Natural catastrophe, even, just as a blanketed point. So aside from there's so many different factors you have to take into account for that. But either way, we're going down this line where you would hope the efficiency of it overtakes the premise of things getting, quote, better, but better or worse is still kind of subjectional. Either way, this energy is going to disperse and reform and disperse and reform over and over again in our society to see new norms, new transgressions, new everything. And it's going to continue to reform and evolve, and who knows where that takes us and where we end up. But blockchain technology is going to revolutionize everything. So I hope you're ready. If you don't understand it, go understand it. Go figure it out. Go get a grasp at least. And if you don't understand how the credit card transactions work every time that you make a credit card purchase, then I don't expect you to sit here and attempt to understand blockchain technology either. It's not going to happen. But why would you not understand how your money gets spent and why your money is what it is? And like, why would you not understand your world? Don't know. Some people won't. But if you don't understand now, you're not going to understand the future. And that's kind of the difference on why some people are here or not. And the corporations, whether you are there or not, are going to still implement things on the back end because they give a fuck about nobody else but themselves. And that's kind of the whole point of why this is a thing. So thank you guys for all the support, for all the love. You can check out all of my stuff and links in the description. Aeromiss.xyz. I make music, got all the other kind of stuff going on if you want to support. I appreciate the love. If you want to add any topics, suggestions, whatever it might be, all my DMs are open on all of my platforms. Ask me a question, give me a topic to talk about, whatever it might be. I'm always here to make sure I can provide more value to the community. And I will catch you guys on the next one.